All right, good morning to you once again, and thank you once again for allowing us into your homes. It's time for the news review, and I'm here with Enimwa.
Of course, you are. So super excited about the newspapers this morning. We've seen some things that are very, very interesting.
Yes, and we'll bring them to you in a bit. Okay, I think I'll start.
Yes, definitely.
So we start with the Daily Graphic, and on the front page, appointment of MMDCs, AMA, KMA races in photo finish. And then review base pay calculation. TUC urges tripartite committee, Sputnik V vaccine middleman to refund $2.4 million. And they talk, once they mentioned the middleman here, Sheikh Al Maktoum. And yesterday I was having a conversation with Mutala Mohammed on the AM show, AM Talk. And he kept on referring to him as Guru Boy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a middleman, but...
Wow, I didn't see that coming. I was out, so I didn't hear.
You can't call him
Wow,
Guru Boy.
wow.
It's way beyond Guru Boy. Look.
Wow.
Billionaire Guru
Guru
Boy.
Boy.
But let's get into... Oh, and then Justice Mafusao passes away.
Yeah,
the story
may his
broke
soul rest
yesterday. Yeah, may his soul rest in peace. Okay, so let's get into the stories. And but there's this other story. Bagbo proposes new political party. The ex-president of Côte d'Ivoire, he wants to form a new political party. Now, we move on. Foreign teams join Greece to battle fires. And then CDC urges travelers to avoid France and Israel because of COVID-19. And I'm like, okay, Israel is one country that has vaccinated virtually everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
And so why Israel will end up on the US's list of countries that people should avoid travel to, find that interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
Okay, let's move on. And on the gender page 13, beware of uploading nude pictures on social media. Minister advises women.
Yep.
And I'm reiterating this simply because this is still happening.
Yeah.
And people, you know, it's not just the women, even though it has to do mainly with the women. They're uploading all these nudes. Once you upload a nude, you never know where it's going to end up.
And the internet never forgets.
Yes.
So
my issue is, don't even take the photo in the first place, because you may take the photo, you're thinking that I'm keeping it on my phone, or I'm sending it to my boyfriend. But yes, he's your boyfriend for now, but may not be your boyfriend forever. Apart from that, yes, he's your boyfriend. But that photo on your boyfriend's phone may end up somewhere else with someone not your boyfriend. So please be mindful of these nude photos.
of course, this goes both ways as well. Cause,
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying mainly it tends to be, you know, so if you take a man, if you take his nude photo, well, it doesn't sell as much.
You'll be surprised, but okay.
And often, if all you need to do, you take a woman topless, and that's crazy. If you take a man topless.
Yeah, I get the argument,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, both sexes actually, so just avoid these. Then review base pay calculation. I'll get into that story, better into that story. So the Trade Union Congress has said the time has come for the tripartite committee, which determines the base pay of public sector workers, to review the variables used in arriving at salary increases. The TUC said over the years, the major determinant had been inflation, but there was the need to bring in other variables, such as the real cost of living, because the previous method did not work to the benefit of employees. It explained that inflation was just a representation of cost of living, but not the actual, hence the need to use the living cost. Says he was speaking at an economic forum on the 2021 mid-year budget. The director of the Labour Policy and Research Institute of the TUC, Dr. Kwabna Nyakuotu, said the union was working to bring in other variables such as the real cost of living. And this is coming up because the TUC worked something out with the government to increase salaries by a certain percentage this year and then next year. But the people are not the workers, public sector workers, are not excited by it.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of pressure. We're hearing from various labor unions that they are going to embark, they're threatening a strike. And this is of concern. So the TUC is coming under a lot of fire, and I would want to understand why they're asking for the review of the base pay calculation. But another thing I feel that we should be looking at is the Article 71 office holders and the people who are high up there, who are earning so much, and then they're getting so much more.
Yeah.
In addition to whatever they're
earning.
And then you look at those who are down. It's like we have a, top-heavy situation.
Very
where
top-heavy, yeah.
Up there, well, if you take one Article 71 office holder salary, it could pay several workers.
It's like Basa and PSG, Messi and PSG, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should take another look at it. I mean, because these agitations will continue for as long as we have people, looking at the Article 71 office holders, and they're like, you give them virtually everything.
Everything, yeah.
Okay. All right. So something we should be looking at. And middleman to refund $2.4 million, which is a story we covered heavily here on JoyNews. And next story I'd like to bring to attention, road crashes claim 295 lives in the Ashanti region. That's the MTTD. So please, 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 we keep talking about road crashes and the need to arrive alive and drive safely, but we seem to be still having these unfortunate deaths. So please. And then President commissions $16 million tomato processing factory at Domfeta. It's in the center spread of the Daily Graphic, and you know my issue with the center spread. Yes. Yeah. So it still hasn't been fixed. I didn't expect that it will be fixed overnight, but yeah, my uncle Sam Odote and other librarians, I'm sure, would want that to happen for them. I think it would take a while for them to change the template. Of course. It is doable. And then, so let me tell you a bit more about this tomato factory. It says it's a $16 million tomato processing factory at Domfeta in the Brekum West District in the Bono region. The Wedi Africa Tomato Processing Factory, constructed under the government's flagship program, One District, One Factory initiative, is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. It has the capacity to process 40,000 tons of fresh tomatoes a year into tomato concentrate and tomato mix, which translates into 720 crates of fresh tomatoes per shift per day. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I'm excited about this because anything at all that we can do to have produce or stuff that we typically would have to import, I'm very excited about it. It's very good, yeah. Especially after the documentary, the report that we saw in the 6 a.m. news about how perishable tomato is. Yes. The fact that if it's made into these kind of products, then we have more tomato products that are not going to waste. And obviously when, supply is high, prices will not be too bad, because tomatoes sometimes just tend to cost a little bit too much. And when it gets scarce and we're having to bring some in from Burkina Faso and all of that. So pretty good stuff. Once again, I mean, we're great at starting projects. We're amazing at starting projects, but, maintenance culture, sustainability, our customer service, the ethics of the workers, But anyway, this pineapple juice, what's an ekunfi? Yeah. Ekunfi seems to be, still... That is the issue I'm coming to, actually. Oh, okay, all right. So we have ekunfi. Started so well. I mean, people love the ekunfi juice. Ekunfi pan, yeah. Okay? Yeah. But it's become scarce. I don't understand it. Yes. Because people want the product, and yet you can't get the product to buy. Doesn't make sense. It's becoming some precious mineral. Because juice is a big thing, and it was pretty affordable. Little size packs, and so you can give it to the kids to take to school, and it's better over these fizzy drinks. And it actually tasted good. It's pineapple and ginger. Good stuff. But now you can't find it. I never really saw it in the major supermarkets. I don't know what kind of advertising or what went into it, but it is a really good product. Yes, so and we should have as much of it as possible on the market so that we don't need to import all these
juices and
juices
stuff.
that are coming in. That
So this is exciting, but you know, it's like I don't know. It's not.
Yeah. Okay. So also in the census spread, SNIT GRA SEC board inaugurated. So we have boards for all of this. And then on page 26, Lighthouse Chapel mounts defense against former pastors. It's very interesting reading, and I would wish you would just make time and get into the story. But I'll read you just a bit of it. The Lighthouse Chapel International, Ghana, has mounted a defense against 6 former pastors who have, among other things, sued the church over Social Security and National Insurance Trust contributions. LCI contends that it operates an extensive lay system, a system that allows individuals to serve as volunteers while maintaining their secular engagements as workers or students. In other words, if we hire you as a volunteer pastor, you don't expect
to get
paid. Be paid, and then let's move to this. So they say this aspect about volunteer pastors. It says for pastors, Faith Maccabi mentions a number of the pastors. LCI noted that the plaintiffs were volunteer pastors, and hence it owed them no salaries and SNIT contributions. Allegations by Pastor Fiakojo, a number of them, that they used their own monies to build LCI churches was vehemently denied by the LCI church, which contended that they built those churches without their direct or indirect financial involvement. Okay, so you see where the story is going. My concern, though, is when we have these issues ending up in court, then, you know, a lot of dirty linen is going to come out.
It's going to come out,
and it doesn't look good for the church, because then they're going to say the church is lying. And then the pastors are also saying, you know, the church is also saying the pastors are lying.
Exactly.
So if they are both lying,
it's just,
what's really happening? And Education Ministry takes steps to recover learning losses. That's Duchum. And then 3 teacher unions make demands on government. It's one of the stories that was on AM News. And you see, I add that to the Kenyasi complaint. So there's this story about the people of Kenyasi protesting because there's poor roads and all that. And I'm thinking, whoa, it seems a bit too early for these agitations to be starting, you know, after an election.
Yeah.
You know, typically you would expect that, you know, somewhere a little later on in the, you know, couple of years after. But yeah, it's pretty early. But
then again, it is the NPP's second term. So, I mean, you kind of feel like they're agitating because they feel like the government has already had 4 years and they didn't do it, you know, and then, okay, there's another 4 years. So if we don't start, you know, they say, it starts from the morning.
And I would actually want to think that and believe that it's probably high time we stopped looking at, making some unrealistic promises.
Yeah.
During elections. And also, as the citizens, we should also be mindful of some of the promises that the politicians make to us. I mean, they'll make all the
we can't
promises.
just believe everything.
We can't believe everything. We can't believe it. When they tell us they're going to do this and do that, I mean, reality hits, and then...
It's like when a boy is rapping you should be able to tell that, nah, fam, this is lies. Yeah. All
right. Health Minister takes annual leave, and that story too covered extensively on JoyNews. Well, he's taking his leave. So there were these rumors that he had resigned, but we checked, and it turns out that he's taking his leave. 2 weeks,
I think, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's just the timing, though. That's all. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of heat, so he needs time to just cool off. You know, otherwise you can make him even more confused.
That's true.
Thank you. And draft starter bill goes through validation. Then building contractors pursue build right campaign. And let me just move on to the other. Be vigilant to check fertilizer smuggling, which is one other story. We're going to be looking at the fertilizer shortage. The regional minister is urging the Upper East Regional Minister is urging the residents to be vigilant to check fertilizer smuggling. Even though there are those who are saying that there's no fertilizer for people to even smuggle. And it's worrying. Right. So Justice Mafosa passes away. I read a bit of it. The Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Samuel K. Mafosa, has passed away. Multiple sources revealed to the Daily Graphic that the 64-year-old Supreme Court judge died yesterday at the East Hospital. Justice Mafosa was one of the 7 justices of the Apex Court who heard the 2020 election petition filed by former President John Dramani Mahama to challenge the validity of the election of President Akufo-Addo. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And Ghana must invest in least disciplines. That's Nunu Mensah, the president of the Ghana Olympic Committee. And he was saying this when the Olympic torch touched down in Accra. And process ongoing to amend Rent Act. That's the housing minister. It's on the back page of the Daily Graphic. He says it has become obvious that the very old Rent Act has virtually outlived its usefulness. So the housing minister met with some landlords at rent control, and he made it clear that he appreciates the fact that it's probably high time we amended the Rent Act. And these are some of the concerns that the people have. People's perceptions of the rent control department have been very dependent on whether one is a tenant or a landlord. A landlady, Miss Catherine Osei-Fojo, referred to the rent control department as tenant control because it only favored tenants, and said the landlord control department had become necessary.
Oh, wow.
Landlord control department.
That's interesting.
It says this place, by its name, rent control, always gives tenants priority to the extent that landlords have no say. Once a tenant lodges a complaint against you, she complained. A tenant, Mr. Richard Denani, also asked for a regulation to prevent landlords from increasing rent after the expiration of every tenancy agreement. But the minister says that he appreciates that, look, yes, we need to be mindful or take care of the concerns of the tenants, but we also have to consider the fact that the housing shortage, and the landlords are also investing in these buildings, and they need to get their money's worth. All right, so I've taken quite a bit of time.
You've talked a lot, Pa, this morning. I was just going to say that. I'm just looking at you and I'm like, wow, Israel. Okay, well, you're going on a break now. Yes. Let me do the Ghanaian Times. Oh, gosh. Okay, starting when now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The front page of the Ghanaian Times. 1D1F program, President inaugurates $16 million tomato processing factory. Tomato, depending. NAT, 2 other unions press government to tackle challenges affecting teaching, learning by September 30th. Government poised to review Rent Act. So we've talked about all these stories. Efforts to stop financial infractions will name shame defaulters who fail to adhere to public financial management. That's according to the IAA. Some stories inside the Ghanaian Times. Court slaps Samjay Hospital with 326,000 cedi fine over medical negligence. So apparently there was an issue with a baby that was a little bit big, and in the process of the birth, the child suffered some issues and their arm is paralyzed. And court has fined Samjay Hospital for medical negligence. Acting IGP leads delegation to sympathize with family of late Chief Inspector. And 3 suspected robbers and 2 accomplices. Well, 3 have been killed. 3 suspected robbers have been killed, and 2 accomplices have been arrested by the police. Okay, so the TUC also is urging government to suspend deregulation of fuel prices. That's on page 4 of the Ghanaian Times. Then, of course, in the news for the past couple of days, Ebola-like Marburg virus found in Guinea. So this virus apparently is very similar to Ebola, and it's been found in Guinea. It's a virus that has been quiet for a long time. In 2005, Angola had some major cases, but it's been pretty dormant. It's reared its head in Guinea, and the symptoms are quite Ebola-like, and there is no cure for this virus as well, apart from, of course, treating symptoms. So we're hearing a lot of viruses that have no cure. I think that's pretty normal with viruses. This is gotten from the food bat. So, gosh, our thoughts go out to Guinea. They've had a pretty hard time with some of these viruses. South Africa court postpones Zuma corruption trial to September. And a Chinese a Canadian actually has lost his appeal against the China death penalty. So he was sentenced to 15 years in 2019, but an appeal court said it was too lenient. And what he did was he tried to smuggle drugs. So he is facing the death penalty in China now. Also, this story, which bothers me for so many different reasons. We face extinction, and this story is about countries that are very low-lying and has to do with climate change. So if we get that 1.5 degrees Celsius change that experts are expecting over the next few years, some of these countries will basically go underwater because sea levels will rise. And one of the countries that is most likely to do that if that happens is the Maldives. And the Maldives is by far one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Having been there, you have?
No, I haven't. But
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever happens, I need to go before anything. But it can't exactly.
Okay, but my 2 minutes break is up. But
yeah, clearly I noticed. But clearly, I mean, this kind of makes climate change very real when you imagine that countries like the Maldives and other really beautiful places could basically just go underwater in the next few years if we don't, slow down our carbon emissions and other things that cause climate change. Prince Andrew accuser files civil case in the US. And then a few more stories. Younger generation urged to fulfill the dreams of Nkrumah, Kaunda, Nyerere, and other African greats. This is Pastor Minister Otabil speaking at Greater Works. Sustainable solution needed to curb youth unemployment. Yes, definitely. Okay, let me move on to the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. That story will name shame defaulters. Okay, so the Ghanaian Times on the front page is saying that President inaugurates 60 million tomato processing. In the middle page, it's saying President inaugurates $1 billion tomato processing factory at Donfete. Not sure what the discrepancy is there. NAT's 2 other unions press government to tackle. Okay, I've already done that. Oh, okay, sprinkling. God, my heart's caught. GSMA, so the Ghana South Municipal Assembly, is banning the sprinkling of pitli during Homowo. In English, from. So it's just the sprinkling. I saw the banning and pitli, and I was like, oh my God, because we love it, don't we? With the palm nut soup. But they're banning it, and I'll tell you why. Okay, he said that there have been a few issues. The situation is quite volatile. There's constant conflicts about who has the right to perform the right. So rights to perform the rights ahead of the Homowo Festival celebration. So just to make matters simple, no sprinkling. And we do love our festivals, don't we? So pretty important there. 73,000 NABCO beneficiaries to join state agencies, departments, according to President Akufo-Addo. Use maternity leave to express enough breast milk to feed your babies. Yeah, we do know that breast milk is pretty fantastic when it comes to our babies. Work hard to attract investment and increase revenue. Oil prices rise as market shrugs of virus impact. And coffee prices jump to 7-year high. I hope that's not going to affect my cup of coffee in the morning. It's already pretty high if you want really good coffee. Pay about 18 to 23 cedis for a cup of coffee, depending on the size that you want. And obviously, I'm not talking about instant coffee, properly brewed coffee. But the prices have jumped up. Hopefully, won't affect us too much. Messi agrees to 2-year PSG move. He's expected to complete the move today. So he arrived in Paris yesterday wearing an I Love Paris, or This is Paris t-shirt with his father, Jorge, and his wife. And when his father was asked if he was going to accept the deal, he said yes, he will. Why did he leave Barca? The answer was, go and ask that club. So you can tell that there's a bit of pain there. Messi will be taking home £1 million, I think, or $1 million.
£1 million.
No, it's actually it's £1 million a week.
Really?
Yes, that's what the Daily Guide is saying. I remember because I read this story. So PSG introduces Messi today after signing £1 million A pound is heavier than dollar.
£1 million.
Pounds.
That's too much. That's too much.
$1 million. £1 million pounds. Is it your money? £1 million a week.
That's a bit obscene, I think.
Yeah, it's messy. Anyways, so he was sad, but I mean, you can't really be sad if you are going to earn £1 million a week or a week.
Okay, all right.
We should just quit our jobs and just, Charlie.
Okay, so let's go to the Finder, on the front page of the Finder, and about the confusion about the value of the tomato factory.
60 million one.
It's 60 million here.
Yeah.
On the Finder.
So I don't know where they got the 1
billion
billion.
In the Daily Graphic as well. So, yeah, and the MPP Constituency Annual Delegates Conference to be held in groups of 250. And then ACA AGM deal will saddle GMPC with overpriced assets. That's Dr. Theo Champong. Minister's mask mandate not being enforced, talking about the COVID-19 mask mandate. And GMPC buying stake in SDWT AGM block is a bad deal. That's Kojo Poku. And just something that I need to draw attention to in the Finder. So there's this offer, an advert. It's been in the Finder for a while. I've seen it a couple of times. Now, it's saying that there's an offer. And the offer is ending on the 31st of June. But it's still in the paper. I think they need to take another look at it.
Yes. Israel, it's 6:57, so should we move to an online review? But whilst we are waiting to do online, let me just quickly cover the front page stories of the Daily Guide. NDC stops anti-Mahama campaign. Ameri Sheikh to refund $2.8 million for Sputnik vaccine. And this one is interesting. Prepare your successor to break the 8. And of course, they're talking about this 8-year thing that we seem to have with our government. So, you win a second term, but a third term is not
guaranteed.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed.
It hasn't happened, actually. It hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened yet. So the paramount chief of Techiman traditional areas urging Akufo-Addo to lay solid foundation for a remarkable transition from his leadership to his successor. So that should be interesting. That's the Daily Guide pretty much. Some sports, Inter fans slam Lukaku, and GPL returns on the October the 29th.
All right, and the Daily Dispatch says NDC proposes new electoral reforms with justification. Supreme Court judge passes on. I work to pay my school fees at age 13. That's Father Campbell, Andrew Campbell. The COVID-19 vaccine supplier agrees to refund over $2 million for non-supplied vaccines. On the back page, stand of late John Atamil's marries. Oh, congratulations. And yeah, so that'll be it. And then quickly, the Business and Financial Times. Oh, you were singing.
No, it's fine. I was just.
No, if you're singing.
I was happy about his.
And
no, Israel. Let's do the. Oh God.
Why did you go ahead? All right, let's go on.
Okay, yes. So my Joy Online this morning, Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu has taken a 2-week leave. That's from the presidency. EC chair must be appointed with prior parliamentary approval. NDC proposes. Supreme Court Judge Justice Samuel Mafusau passes on. Ken Ofori-Atta is chief culprit in Sputnik V vaccine saga. He must resign. That's according to Sami Jainfi. 20 million Ghanaians to be vaccinated against COVID-19 before 2021 ends. That's Akufo-Addo speaking. Bonny East region loses 10 lives to COVID-19 in July. Remember, we had a conversation with them. Bonny East has become one of the hot spots, unfortunately. A ministry working alongside security to halt fertilizer smuggling. That's going to Deputy Agric Minister. UTAG cannot honor National Labour Commission's invitation until court process ends. And I think that's pretty much it for my Joy Online.
But I'll go to the top story.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Sheikh Al Maktoum refunding monies for Sputnik vaccines doesn't exonerate health minister.
That's according to Martin Baby. Oh, this health minister who's on leave. Hopefully he's watching us. If you are, good morning to you. Hope you're enjoying your time off work. But yes, this is the AM show. My name is Enima. I'm doing this with Israel. And we're here until 9 a.m. Coming up after this break is the sports. And of course, the show continues right after that.
But talking about the health minister, why don't we play a song for him since he's enjoying his leave?
Are you going to suggest a song at this point?
Okay, we'll figure that out
Okay,
after sports.
we'll figure that
probably.
out after sports. Don't go anywhere.